This is a Funko Pop from 2011, and this is what a Funko Pop looks like now. Today, I'm going to be comparing old Funko Pops that we got many years ago to new ones that we have today. So let's get right into it. Out of all the Funko Pop lines that we have today, the oldest would probably have to be the DC Heroes line. So here's what Batman and Superman looked like in 2011. Now, typically with a lot of older figures, Funko would use a basic mold for everything. This mold was very simple. Small body, big head, arms out to the side. These two figures have that classic mold and lack much detail at all, but you can still tell who they are from their basic features. The newer ones look so much better in my opinion, and they have unique molds for each of them. Superman has many different versions made of him, but my favorite has got to be the one where his cape looks like it's flowing in the wind, and they even gave him a stand so that way it looks like he's flying through the air. Batman also has plenty of new versions, some where he's using a weapon, driving the Batmobile, as a gingerbread man, or even my favorite, the one where he's beating up the Joker. And speaking about the Joker, there was also a bunch of DC villains that were made a part of the original wave back in 2011. A lot of these villains have been remade today and redesigned into much better figures, such as the Joker, Two-Face, and even the Penguin. Now, if you guys have seen my channel before, you know that I have every single Rick and Morty Funko Pop ever made, so of course I couldn't make this video without featuring some Rick and Morty Pops in it. And here's the original Rick and Morty. They have very basic designs, not much happening with them at all to be honest, but I feel like it works really well with Rick and Morty because there isn't much detail going on with them. They're still able to capture the features and attributes of Rick and Morty extremely well. Now since then, we've gotten plenty of new Rick and Morty Funko Pops made, such as Evil Morty, Teacher Rick, Slick Morty, Buff Rick, Shrimp Morty, and even Pickle Rick.
Boom! Big reveal!
We also got some cool versions of Rick like this Rick and Ship, Mad Max Rick, and this huge Rick 10-inch Funko Pop. Like, this thing is seriously massive. Anime is easily one of Funko's largest lines, and it's also one of its oldest. Take a look at some of the original One Piece Funko Pops. A lot of these figures embody the characters really well, but they lack details in certain areas. Since then, Funko has done a lot better with these pops, releasing new versions for characters like Luffy, Chopper, Frankie, and many more. And speaking of anime, here are some of the first Naruto Funko Pops ever made. Naruto and Kakashi. Naruto's got a stand which makes him look like he's flying through the air with his Rasengan in one of his hands. It's a really cool mold for a really cool guy. Okay, but it's not as cool as this Kakashi Funko Pop. Like seriously, Kakashi is the cool guy. Kakashi looks amazing as well. He has a fairly simple mold, but it definitely gets the job done extremely well. And here is a new Naruto and new Kakashi. They do look fairly similar to the older ones, but when you take a better look at them, you can tell that there's a lot more detail and effort put into the molds of these figures. The Kurama Link Naruto looks fantastic and has super vibrant colors that really make this pop stand out. And at first glance, the new Kakashi Funko Pop looks super similar to the old one, but this new one has a really cool addition to it, and that is Pacoon. Just look how sick this little guy is. Honestly, this little addition makes this Funko Pop just perfect. Now, I could be the first one to admit that when Funko was first creating Funko Pops way back in 2011 and 2012, a lot of these figures didn't look good at all. For example, the first wave of SpongeBob Funko Pops are literal nightmare fuel. SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick all lack emotion and literally look terrifying. Thankfully, Funko has remade these characters throughout the years, and oh my gosh, are they so much better than the original ones. The cartoony SpongeBob feel is there, and a lot of these newer figures actually look like they have emotions. But sometimes simplicity is all we need for figures. Like, take a look at the older Star Wars Funko Pops. I think a lot of these look good in my opinion. They don't have much going on, and for what they are, they really do get the job done. And this is one of those lines that Funko has gotten extremely creative with throughout the years, creating things such as movie posters, moments, and even build-a-scenes. And there is definitely a huge gap in some of the characters that they made in 2011 versus their remakes now. Like, take a look at these: Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and in my opinion, the biggest difference, the Stormtroopers. And right here is the new lights and sound Darth Vader. And when you press down on his head, this is what happens. A super cool feature that really separates it from the original Darth Vader that we got over a decade ago. Video game pops have got to be some of my favorites. I just love being able to play video games alongside my Leviathan Funko Pop from Fortnite. In seriousness, Funko has been releasing some pretty cool video game Funko Pops throughout the years. One of my favorites in my collection would have to be this Sonic with Ring Funko Pop. It's simple, it looks like Sonic, and I think in my opinion it's cool, but it's nothing like the original ones that we got way back then. What are these things? They butchered all three of these so so bad. But Sonic's not the only video game Funko Pop that's been remade throughout the years. We've also got new video game Funko Pops of Master Chief, Freddy Fazbear, and Mega Man. All of these got updated with much more interesting molds and unique details on each one. And up there in age with the DC Funko Pop line would easily have to be the Marvel Funko Pop line. They've been releasing Marvel Funko Pops for many years now, and a lot of these are similar to the DC ones that I talked about earlier, in which they all have the exact same basic mold, which isn't really a good idea considering that a lot of these characters are complex and require unique mold / detail to be able to express them well as figures. And I think Funko seem to understand that, because throughout the years Marvel Funko Pops have continued to get better and better and better. We got updated versions of Spider-Man, Hulk, Captain America, Thor, and many other Marvel characters. I've also got this Civil War Iron Man in my collection from when the movie first released, which ended up being remade fairly recently actually when they released the Civil War Build-A-Scene set. The two pops look very similar, but the newer one has smaller details on it and a much more interesting pose in my opinion. Disney is also one of Funko's oldest lines. And actually thinking about it, I also believe it's probably the largest Funko Pop line that we have. There's thousands of Funko Pops made for the Disney line of different characters, but this is the original Disney line that we first got way back then. This line featured plenty of different iconic Disney characters, and a lot of these are actually super expensive and hard to find nowadays, but thankfully Funko has recreated a lot of these characters and released new molds for them. One of the most prevalent ones being Mickey. We've gotten plenty of different versions of Mickey throughout the years, and each one of them is respectfully as cool as the other. We've also gotten plenty of other Disney characters updated throughout the years, but my favorite has easily got to be the difference between the old Stitch and the new Stitch. Just pause for a second and look at this old Stitch. I don't know what it is about this figure, maybe the teeth, but this thing is literally terrifying. The new ones look a lot better. Basketball Funko Pops are some pops that have also progressively gotten a lot better throughout the years. A lot of these were released at the same time as the original Marvel and DC pops, so they've got that super basic simple mold that a lot of older pops had. In my collection I have this OG Kobe that has that mold, and I've also got this new Michael Jordan. As you can see, there is a huge jump in the effort of these figures. The new ones have unique molds, a lot more effort put into them, a lot more detail. They just overall look a lot better. Like this Michael Jordan who looks like he's flying through the air getting ready to hit a nasty dunk. The last line of pops that I'll talk about in today's video are the Ad Icon Funko Pops. Funko has been working with Ad Icons for many years now. Their first ever product way back in 1998 was a Big Boy Wacky Wobbler, and eventually later down the line when Funko would start creating pops, they would release the Funko Ad Icons line, and the first Ad Icons a part of this line would be for General Mills, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry. These three are grills for many people today, and they sell for a crazy price on the aftermarket, but thankfully these have been remade since then and they look a lot better with their new designs. The Ad Icons line is easily one of Funko's best lines because every time they continue to release new figures for this line, they just continue to get better and more unique every time. There are still a bunch of Funko Pops that haven't been remade in a long time, so my question to you guys watching this video right now is, what Funko Pops do you want to see Funko remake? Thank you guys all for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.